visitors, in case there are parents, please keep your mobiles in the silent mode. Thank you. All right. From the moment we woke up today, had a sumptuous breakfast in the canteen, and assembling here in the AV room, everything is a marvel of science. It's the science that has enabled us to land on the moon and triumph as a country. I'm loud enough. Science definitely is doing wonders beyond imagination. A very warm welcome to everyone to the most awaited Mini Nobel Laureate panel discussion. At GIIS, we believe in encouraging and celebrating students' testament towards their scientific passion and perseverance. The Mini Nobel Laureate Award gives us the opportunity to honor the budding scientists of our state. This award was introduced in honor of Eric Cornell, an American physicist who, along with Carl Wieman, was able to synthesize the first Bose-Einstein condensation in 1995. For this, they shared the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2001. Our chairman, sir, Dr. Srinivasan, sir, met the Nobel Laureate Eric Cornell as a dear parent and was inspired to institute this award to nurture and create noble minds in our dear country. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our team of panelists. First, I would like to welcome our special chief guest of honor and esteemed panel member, Dr. Paris Ma'am. Thank you for honoring us with your presence with a small token of appreciation. Please accept it. We are proud to have such an eminent personality, part of the ISRO team, whose contribution a big round of applause, please. Yeah. We are definitely proud to have such an eminent personality, part of the ISRO team, whose contribution in the Chandrayaan mission marks the genesis of India's renewed lunar aspirations. Ms. Parvati Shankar joined ISRO in 1997 as a design engineer. She was responsible for the design and development star trackers on board multiple spacecraft. Her design of the miniaturized fast recovery star sensor of GSAT-1 project was a notable one. Over the years, she's worked in the entire gamut of spacecraft electronics, realization areas, namely testing, manufacturing, flight worthiness certification, project management, and outsourcing, and has gained rich experience. She has contributed immensely for all types of spacecrafts, namely Earth observation, communication, navigation, deep space, interplanetary, and human space missions. Currently, she is heading the electronics manufacturing and assembly facility at UR Rao Satellite Center, Bangalore. She is heading a 60-member strong team and is responsible for the manufacturing of all the electronics hardware flying on board all the spacecrafts of ISRO, including those in the prestigious Chandrayaan-3 and Aditya L1 mission. She was part of the team of women engineers who got the opportunity to meet the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, immediately after the soft landing of Chandrayaan-3 on the moon. I think a big round of applause. She has contributed significantly in failure analysis during manufacturing and testing as part of multiple committees and suggested solutions. She is a recipient of various awards of excellence both from within ISRO and from other institutions. She has received the Performance Excellence Award from the then Governor of Karnataka, His Excellency Shri Vajubhai Vala. She was conferred with the Rocket Women of India Award from CII. In recognition of her contributions, ISRO, along with the Government of India, has released a stamp in her honor. I must say her perseverance into this mission heralds a chapter of discovery that is truly reverberating great motivation in young minds, right? Okay. I would also like to welcome our chairman, Sir, Dr. M. Srinivasan, Sir, Sally Ma'am, our dear principal Ma'am, Ms. Nalini Bhatt, our senior science mentor, Ms. Soumya, and Rashmi Gupta Ma'am. Dr. Parvati Ma'am will be our external judge for today's panel discussion, and we have Rashmi Gupta Ma'am and Soumya Ma'am who will be our internal judges. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our last year's winner, Shriya Anand. Can we give it up to Shriya Anand? I request you coming up here, share your insights and just try to ignite some spark within us. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. First of all, I just want to mention how it's an honor to be part of this panel today. To me, science has always been a way of creating possibilities and taking chances, a way of channeling my passion into things I am deeply interested in, and I'm looking forward to seeing some passionate responses from the panelists today. All the best, everyone.
Yeah. We are proud to have such eminent, I think over to Priyanka ma'am. She'll take it up from now to introduce all our panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini ma'am. Let us now begin today's session. Our 9 young panelists from grade 9 to 12, they have successfully completed the preliminary rounds of selection and are here today because of their academic excellence, exceptional scientific attitude and passion. As I call each panelist, please introduce yourself and the project you have displayed in round 2 and take your seat on the stage. Pranav Verma.
Namaste everyone, my name is Pranav and I'm one of the panelists from 9th grade. So for my project, I wanted to demonstrate how engineers make models more aerodynamically efficient. So to do this, I first explained about aerodynamic efficiency in general. I talked about drag and the reasons why drag is created. And then I talked about the process by which aerodynamic engineers actually engineer their models. For my models, I created a replica, like a scale model of a wind tunnel to show how engineers use this to test their models, and then I also created some simulations to show how engineers do the same digitally. And as for my scientific interests, I'm not particularly interested in one field. Like, I have interest in lots of fields, but one of my favorite ones is astrophysics.
Good morning everyone, my name is Govind Tripathi and I'm a 9th grade student and avid learner of science. So I built a solar water heater using waste plastic bottles and using the key concepts of thermosiphoning and solar energy. So many people around the world do not have access to hot water, due to which they face many problems. And the main application of my project would be to build an affordable, scalable and eco-friendly solar water heating system. And thank you, and I look forward to being part of this panel discussion.
And I'm from grade 10. For my project, I designed a greenhouse which has structural features which will create an environment where we can grow crops at the optimal conditions required for their photosynthesis. The problem right now that we face is that most of the crops that we're growing aren't growing at their optimal condition for photosynthesis. And the only way we can do this currently is by manually changing the temperatures and CO2 concentration. Unfortunately, as it sounds, it's an extremely high energy process. And with my greenhouse, I use biomimicry and other naturally available resources to make structural designs that can help us increase the CO2 concentration in the greenhouse while reducing temperatures to the ideal temperature without using any external source of fuel, thus giving us an eco-friendly, long-term sustainable solution to maximizing agricultural yield. Thank you so much.
Namaste everybody, my name is Deepika. I'm studying grade 10. So my project was on base editing, and base editing is basically involving, base editing is technique that involves editing a singular base pair of a gene. Genes are basically part of our DNA sequence, and they help encode for proteins, which basically make up our body. So there are two different types of base editing. I talked about in vivo base editing, which is basically base editing done inside our body, done from point mutations, and it can be used to cure diseases like cystic fibrosis or sickle cell anemia. And a major part of my project was actually my case study, where I talked about how there's an application of base editing and how it's used to cure acute, lymphoblastic leukemia, which was in stage 4, was terminal, and how it basically, a group of doctors in the UK, they recently, just 7 months ago, they came up with a solution and completely cured her. This is my project. I'm extremely honored and grateful to be part of this panel discussion today. I look forward to having a great learning experience.
Namaste, my name is Tirelessly and I'm from grade 11. Personally, for me, science has always interested me from when I was a very small kid. It started off with basic curiosity on how things happen. And I believe that curiosity eventually evolved into a drive to help people and improve lives. And that's what I even strive to do today. I am interested in genes and synthetic biology because I feel that has immense scope to improve people's lives. And with my expertise, I want to do the same. For round 2 MNL, I made a project which what I call is a water whistle vessel. But what it basically does is mimics the sounds of birds without actually blowing into it. So the idea came from when I was reading up about the organ in birds called syrinx, which they use to make noises. This organ works very similar to a flute, and that gave me the challenge to make a mechanism that makes the sound of a whistle without actually blowing into it. And then that's when MNL came in, so I thought, what better way to execute my idea than this round? And I'm honored to be here, hopefully to learn a lot from the other panelists and the discussion. Thank you.
Namaste, my name is Ashi. I'm in 11th grade. And I'm passionate about neuroscience and I'm looking forward to pursuing it in the future. So my round 2 MNL project came from the idea where I've seen a lot of people in my life going through Parkinson's disease, and so the current drug that has been developed has a lot of side effects which are almost as harmful as the disease itself. So it can worsen the condition even further. So my idea was to create a plant-based drug for Parkinson's, which is side effect free and derived naturally, so that it can cure the disease or provide relief. So I came up with a process where I could identify a few compounds which could be potential drug replacements, and I'm looking forward to being part of this MNL discussion. Thank you.
Namaste everyone, my name is Kriti. I study in the 12th grade. For my MNL Round 2 project, I converted sludge and manure into electricity, and I was able to produce around 300 millivolts of electricity by making this electrochemical cell. This used concepts from population ecology and chemistry from class, as well as distributed renewable energy techniques. I'm driven by the urge to know more, and everything that I learned contributes to my growing understanding of science as a whole. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to grow and nurture that urge and curiosity. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm Anya Jain, I'm from 12th grade. And for the MNL Round 2 project, I decided to do a study on swarm intelligence. And the way that I did this was I made a comparison between a singular ant solving a complex maze versus an entire colony of ants solving the same maze. And swarm intelligence is basically the collective intelligence that is shown by social organisms like ants, birds, and bees. And what they do is that they interact with the environment and with each other to solve complicated problems. Like in the case of foraging for food for ants and migrating in flocks for birds. And I look forward to today's discussion. I'm excited to learn from everyone here. Thank you so much.
Namaste everyone, my name is Balakrishnan and I'm from grade 12. So what interests me about science is, the main branch that I'm interested in is in electronics. What I like about that field is it allows you to use logic to create contraptions that can perform useful tasks. So as for my project, I created a storage container that can notify a user when a certain resource is below the minimum required threshold. So I achieved that using optical and electromagnetic sensors connected to a computer called a Raspberry Pi. So I'm really honored to be part of this panel today, and I hope to have a great discussion. Thank you.
So, a huge round of applause. Awaiting to gaze towards the horizon of scientific thoughts in young scientists today, I request our chairman, sir, to join to please initiate the discussion. Looking forward to some very, very novel ideas and perspectives brought to the table. Thank you, all of us.
Namaste to all of you. And it's very nice to listen to your talk. I'm quite impressed, but I don't know whether Parvati ma'am is impressed. That will be only by your answers henceforward. Okay. It's always how early you start, you get advantage. Because of two reasons: you have enough time, and your brain is capable of more accommodation. Okay. At the same time, if you can decide what you want to pursue at this age, my dream will be fulfilled. Any of you know what's my dream? I want to see some Nobel laureates from our school. This all of you know. These are the ways you can do. We don't say only Nobel laureates, we say Wimbledon minds and Nobel laureates. So I am talking of the entire spectrum, and I see that even though you are all talking science, some of you have done very well in other fields also. So let's start with a simple and quick question. What is science according to you? So you all have talked what you did. That is in the field of science. So if a younger child, maybe from grade 3 or 4, asks you, what is science? What would be your answer to that child? Anybody can start. I think you all have half a minute each round. Anybody can start.
So for me personally, I feel like science is a medium to improve lives and help people, because in any field you go, there is immense scope to find new things, and every time you unearth something new, you can use it to improve lives and make it more comfortable. So I feel science is that way. If employed correctly, you can do wonders.
No, I want to make a correction. You are talking of the effect of science. I'm asking, what is science? Think about it. Like many a times, people know how to calculate area. They don't define area. Okay, you're all able to say what you can do with science, what you can do in science, but what is science?
I think science is the why beyond about things. Trying to figure out how things work or why a phenomena is taking place. I think science explains that. So to the child, I would say that science is the why.
to something that you want to know?
I think science is the understanding of the world. I don't think it's a tangible thing. It's more of like an abstract noun. If I was talking to a kid, I'd use something that they already know. Legos, for example. When you first start playing with Legos, you use the handbook and you learn how to build a thing. That I would take as the learning of science, what you do in school and when you're curious. Once you finish that, you make Lego houses and constructions yourself. That's the application. The thing in between where you're learning, where you have the understanding of what you want to do, you truly understand what you want to do with these pieces, I would consider that as the science, the intangible thing between the learning and the application.
I think that science is this deep, deep hunger and thirst for knowledge that one can never truly satisfy. And it's because there's just so many, applications and limitations and exceptions to science. And, we learn so much from our environment that's just full of these, complex scientific technologies and concepts that, we can never fully understand it, but to try and to take those few steps, I think that's the way to cherish our environment, our brains, and just everything in between.
To me, science is the concept of existence. So it's everything from curiosity, building your curiosity, to inculcating knowledge and replicating or implementing anything that you've learned. Science is a whole process and it's like a way of life.
So I think science is all the building blocks of the world, right? And they're present in nature all the way up to man-made creations. And science is also a medium of expression for some people, because science is nothing without imagination, right? You need to be creative, you need to be curious, you need to be have some amount of curiosity, and that's why I feel like science is a medium of expression as well as its building blocks of our world.
Personally, I think science is like a hidden law which actually says how things work, like why things are the way they are. It's like hidden from us, and what scientists try to basically do is find that law, like uncover that law. But in essence, it's a hidden law which determines how things work.
To me, science is a perception. It is a way in which we think. So, science allows us to grasp these certain concepts of certain phenomena around us and use that to our advantage. So, I think that challenges the way our mind develops and creates new solutions to different problems.
So I think, according to me, science is a language in which the most important question asked is how. So science must not be mistaken with philosophy. In philosophy, we keep asking why does this happen and why does this happen. But in science, the main answer is how. How do things work around us? And why is it that they are the way they are? So I think science is the mode in which people can express their ideas to answer these kind of questions. And the people who can understand this language best are called scientists.
Wonderful. In fact, all the answers were great. Next question will come from Arvati ma'am. Before that, you also keep thinking on these lines. Now on. We do great things, but we don't do small things in a great way. Okay? Ma'am?
Hello everyone, my question will be on AI. So I would like to listen to your thoughts about AI, and I want to know, can we achieve singularity eventually through AI? Is that a threat? What are your thoughts?
If you don't understand, ask for clarification. No, don't take it.
AI, as you all know, is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is gaining popularity very fast in every field of science, be it in terms of medical instrumentation or in terms of conventional manufacturing or in terms of quantum computing. Everywhere, AI and ML are the mother of all the developments now, with developed using neural networks and things like that. So humans, they want to automate things more and more and make lives easy for everybody. So from that point of view, there is a huge competition and a wish for people to develop more and more intelligent systems. So from that point of view, there is a worry now that eventually, means now we are seeing that sentience is being attained by the robots. For example, Google Lambda, whatever discussion happened, it was expressing feelings like I am scared, I know I am existing. And it was trying to learn fast what is fear, what is grief. It was asking all kind of intelligent questions and it was trying to get answers and it was adding it to its database. So from that point of view, now the more intelligent systems we make, the systems are learning everything and they are learning, pace is exponential. They are exponentially learning things and being very quick. Now at this rate, are we going to get, there is something called narrow-minded AI, artificial intelligence, general intelligence, and then there is something called super intelligence. So at this rate, if it goes, do you see AI as a threat to humans? Will machines overtake human beings, or that is a far possibility? If they overtake, what will happen? That is what I want to hear. Is that okay? Any more clarification?
So personally, I think AI can be a threat only if we continue using it as our sole tool. If AI is mainly used as a side tool, clarify our decisions, or it can only be weaponized if we actually feed it enough data to actually be weaponized. If we limit the data going into it or we inhibit its learning process, I feel that we can control it. But if we keep on feeding it data, like at the rate it's happening now, like as you mentioned Lambda, if we keep on giving it the information it wants and it needs, it can be used as a weapon or it can take over humans. But if we limit its responses and limit the data we actually give it, it cannot learn because it needs us to thrive. So when we control how much data we give itself, I feel that it can be limited and not take over humanity.
I think, like most developments throughout history, people are scared of change because it's new and it seems scary. People during the Industrial Revolution were all afraid that they were going to lose their jobs. That was a threat to them, and a lot of people did lose their jobs because they were being replaced. But the people adapted and evolved and developed their skill sets to be able to use that machinery and reach newer heights, and it didn't take away their jobs. It required for skilling up yourself so that you can be used. I think it's the same thing here. I think anything can be a threat if we let it. I think it depends on how we use it, and I think it's a great step in the right direction. We can use it if we use it in the right way. Everything comes with dangers. Nuclear power plants, for example, are a great step in the right direction as well, but a lot of places are shutting them down, for example, Germany, because they are dangerous and, there's a lot of disasters that have happened. But I do think that also is a step in the right direction in the same way that artificial intelligence is a step in the right direction, as long as we use it mindfully and develop ourselves so that we don't lose our jobs in the process.
So I think AI can go very close to achieving singularity, though not completely achieving it, because the world needs some essence of a human mindset, and human emotions need to be involved. So I think, as she said, anything can be a threat, but depends on how we use it. So if AI were to completely develop to that point, then I think humans would realize that it needs to be inhibited or controlled in a different way, so that humans can be given an opportunity to develop a new niche and excel in multiple fields and not just concentrate in one field. So that's my
I think this is quite a philosophical question rather than a scientific one, simply because when we try to incorporate a new being into our environment, which already has humans as the apex predators. So now we have this, terrifying new, creature that is able to consume knowledge at a rapid pace, and that scares us. And we start thinking, we're going to lose our jobs, we're going to lose income. And I think, yes, jobs will be lost. However, doctors, for example, will not be replaced. We still need that human touch. So even though, AI can, start producing emotions, I don't think it can ever be considered a true threat for humanity. I think we are two separate beings, and the growth between us can truly be a beautiful thing.
I don't think that AI will ever reach a point where it will surpass human intelligence, simply because of the fact that humans don't know enough about our own intelligence to be able to code it or make it in other beings. Psychology has become rising in popularity simply because there is so much about ourselves that we do not know the way we work, and unless we fully understand that, I don't think AI will fully reach to that pinnacle, because we are, at the end of the day, control the AI when we make it. And secondly, AI, I think the main reason we think of it as such a threat because it forces us to get out of our comfort zone, it forces us to constantly change and constantly grow. But at the end of the day, the human race has been through several obstacles, and throughout every one of them, we have managed to change, we have managed to grow, because constantly growing and constantly learning is a definite part of human nature. And as long as we can get rid of the fear and be more willing to step out of our comfort zones, I don't think we'll ever reach to a point where AI can be a true threat and overtake us in terms of intelligence.
So I feel that AI, though it has the potential to become a threat, it can't completely become a threat. The power of human has always been knowledge, and that's what made us develop more than the other creatures around us. We had the power of perceiving, and that's why we are here and no other race is here. And we fully can't perceive everything, so how can we code a machine to perceive everything? But not only that, humans' art of perceiving comes from emotional understanding, social understanding, and growing as a child. That is not something that the AI can do. And so without perception, you can't excel. And the AI in that manner cannot excel fully, which is why I feel like it can never truly be a threat to humanity. Thank you.
So humans do a varying range of tasks, from highly skilled to laborious, unproductive, time-consuming. So tasks which are even harmful to humans, like for example mining in coals, or laborious like like manual labor in factories, time-consuming tasks. These can be taken over by AI. But tasks which require like skilled tasks and tasks which require some understanding of emotional ability, I don't think will ever be taken over by AI, because humans uniquely have the ability to deeply understand connections and understand emotions, and I don't think AI is truly ever going to be a threat in that field. In fact, I think it's going to help us in terms of such unproductive and time-consuming tasks, but it never truly is going to take over such tasks which are so emotionally heavy.
I think though AI is rapidly advancing right now, it is still at the end of the day just an imitation. It is a fake form of intelligence that it tries to imitate from what we know. And humans learn from experiences. We have emotions, we can connect with people, we can share emotions with others, which the AI can just imitate. So I think just by imitation, even though you can get close, like you can fake it till you make it, but you still cannot reach that pinnacle where you take over your own creator, and so that's what I feel about it.
So I feel AI is like a tool. So like Kriti said, you can either use it for good or bad. At the moment, I think AI has more positive effects. Like you said, quantum computers, right? So they can crunch down huge numbers in a matter of seconds, for example. And talking about AI taking over humans, change is natural. And I think the greatest quality of humans is to adapt to change, right? So I don't think AI can ever take over the human race, because as AI grows, even we humans grow. And I don't think, I think humans can adapt to the change in this field as well.
Yeah, we have been working together for almost 2 months now. So my question is very simple. You just need to go again a little bit to yourself. I think Sanvi said about helping the society. We do have a lot of people socially or economically towards the backward end, right? Who needs help? So you've seen doctors, they have a lot of health checkup camps, or let's say some social people, they go spread awareness. A lot of people do a lot of things, right? So you are here because you have a special set of skills in science, isn't it? So how would you utilize that to do something for the society in need or people in need right now? I'm not talking about future, right now. Because how you can help. Anyway, you can start from your community to your country to the world, whatever it may be. Dreams are never small, isn't it? So just tell me, what would you like to do and how would you go about with that idea as well? Right, Michelle?
So when I grow up, I want to be a professor. I want to study and spread my knowledge. And I think right now, I won't be able to, create a product or create, a principle or some sort of technology that can actually influence a lot of people who are, living in villages or from backward areas. I think that for me, I want to help people learn more. I think knowledge is something that's so beautiful that we just underestimate it. The power of knowing things. I think people need to start feeling that. So I would genuinely like to start teaching children, especially, make an influence in their lives. I want to be able to do that.
What I want to do is also very similar. It's teaching. I believe, like you said, all of us are here because of a special skill set that we possess. I think every one of us in this room and in the world have this special skill set, while am I debating. And I believe the best way that I can impact the world right now is by bringing it out in every one of the people out there. So I think teaching right now is the most feasible way for me to do that. It's the only way I can think of that I can make a proper impact currently. Because I think a lot of things right now is just you're limited by your mind, you're limited by what you think you can do. And most people are just scared of failure. They don't do things simply because they're scared of them. And I think by encouraging people to take this step of faith, by making sure that nothing's going to go wrong in case they fail in this one prospect, I can encourage people to open their minds and start developing their own skill set.
Yeah, so for me personally, I feel like my way to help people would be to take part in volunteer camps that different hospitals organize. Because today, hospitals want the teenagers and people to come and be part of the camp so that they can go to different remote areas and provide like one of the major things that we can provide to the society is healthcare. Because once the person doesn't have to worry about their health, that's when they can think more, and when they can think more, they can reach much higher heights, they can acquire knowledge. So if we can provide accessible healthcare in the rural areas, then that's how we can help the society, but that's not available. So I would like to take part in different volunteer camps so that multiple people can get better and care for a lot less of that.
So I think like Sir said, so like Sir said earlier, I believe that starting early gives you an advantage, and even if we can't make the same impact that the systematic reform needs to help people in need, we can still start small and start now. And because we don't have maybe the resource that we would in the future to help these people in need, I think what we can do as children, like Hami said, is volunteer in places that are organizations that are established, and what we can do is provide a resource, right? So we're bridging the gap between the people in need and these organizations that are trying to help them. And so in the future, I personally want to go into research, and I think that does benefit the people, and that's undebatable. But I still believe that starting now is important, and even though systematic reform is needed, we can help in whatever way that we can. And I think whenever you see an opportunity, you have to grasp it and be willing to adapt and not stick to only one area, so you can help as much as possible.
I think the best I can do right now is staying curious and asking questions, questioning everything around me, so that I continue learning about everything, and I should also be able to understand it well enough to share the same knowledge with people who don't have equal access to what I do. And in the future, I'd like to explore the working of the brain even more, because that's a severely underexplored topic, I think, right now. We don't know a lot about the brain. So exploring that would help a lot of people, even advance in the AI field as well as the emotional field, help in neurodegenerative diseases and things like that.
So one thing I can do right now is to keep learning, to keep asking questions, to stay curious, because when I do all of that, I sharpen my own skill set that I have, and so that allows me to, in the future, I can actually help implement it in a better way. Another thing I can do is actually donation, donation of books specifically, because a lot of people in rural areas, they don't have access to books or any educational resources, and giving them books, probably would help sharpen their skill set even more. And another thing I can also do is volunteering, volunteering in health camps, because I also feel like, yeah, these are all things that I can.
So personally, I feel rather than helping a certain set of people, like people in the slums, the world is facing problems, like global warming is a major problem, natural resources are being depleted. So instead of helping only a specific set of people or a specific set of the society, we can help the whole society overall by finding ways to conserve natural resources. Like a major one is renewable energy. We all know about renewable energy, but we're not using it enough. So finding ways to make renewable energy more affordable and make it more accessible to people all over the world, that is one way we can help. So making scientific technologies for that. Also, other than that, we can all do something basic, like planting trees. We all know that planting trees helps conserve the environment. Like simple things like that, you don't need any specific skill set to do this. Everyone can do it, and it will help the society in this small way.
So one way I would like to currently try to help people is I want to know certain small problems that people face in life. It doesn't have to be a huge worldwide issue. Maybe something that your parents face in your household or neighbors. I would like to take such a problem and try to design a product based on that, trying to solve it. And yeah, I'm far from being able to produce a product right now. I have a lot to learn, but I think I want to learn certain concepts, how certain things work, how that can be applied to solve a certain problem. That's what I want to learn right now, and potentially use that to create a good product that can possibly help people in the future.
So I feel the greatest asset for the progress of a society is the pursuit of true knowledge. Now in India, it's very competitive in the field of education, and half of the people who are actually fortunate enough to be educated are not looking to pursue knowledge. They're rather hoping to probably get highest in their grade, get good marks, and get in a good job and earn a lot of money. But I feel the best way for a society to progress is to help people really understand what knowledge is. And I think, like Sarvi said, participating in volunteering camps to help many people around the world to actually pursue knowledge will help them, and I myself might find out things I never knew.
Yeah, it's very nice to be on that side of the table and then come to this side of the table. Okay? So, Shreya is in that mode. Let's see what she wants to know from all of you.
So the question I have for you before I start, science is something that is to a degree limitless. There is always more to know, more to learn, and we are not at the capacity where there is enough for us yet for progress. And as we progress, the lines between science and what is right to society, limitations, that comes into play. So I'll give you an example, cloning. Is that something that you believe is necessary for society? It could create organs for donation, people that are in need, but at the same time, it could shake the very foundation of the society we have created today. So where would you draw the line between science and ethics, and how far do you think you could push the boundary of ethics in the name of science? Yeah, so the question is, how far do you think you would allow the boundary of ethics to go in the name of science? And do you believe it is necessary for ethics to be a vital part of science?
So for my MNL Round 2 project, I did an experiment using ants, living organisms, and this was my first time doing so. And actually before starting this project, I had to go through multiple articles regarding the ethics for using living organisms for experimentation. And initially, I was going to use an entire colony of ants for this experiment. But then, upon reading so many articles about, the side effects of living organisms that have undergone experimentation, I was horrified. And I think there has to be some line, some laws that need to be placed. After reading a lot, I decided I'm just going to, create a comparison of, just one ant, as I described earlier, to, solve a maze. And with regards to what you said about organ transplants, recently there's been this study that's been created where instead of creating clones of humans, they started to biologically create human organs in pigs. Actually, that's the living creature that they used, and they found that the kidney that was grown in these pigs was, I think, around 60% structurally similar to the actual human kidney. And I think if we explore on that, keeping these ethics using living organisms in mind, I think we can progress as a society with our morals intact.
I don't like viewing it as pushing the boundaries of ethics. I think what we're doing is trying to grow in a way that we are not overstepping them. I don't think, from most of time, philosophers and physicists have always been at war, and there's always ethical problems that will show up when it comes to most forms of development. But I was reading, like what Anya said earlier, about how they grew a kidney in a pig.
And that is just one way how we have seen this ethical boundary and swerve past it rather than pushing it. Same thing applies here. I think that there's a difference between the ethics that we hold as a community and models that we have. So there's metaphysical models, there's model truths, there's model fallacies, and obviously how we view them and perceive them, they're different. And I think we will always continue to have that war between philosophers and physicists and ethics and science. But I think that that's not a reason to stop your research and development. I think that's just, teaching us to swerve that boundary and maybe take what we're doing in a different direction. So I don't think that pushing the boundary is what we're doing as a society right now. I think that the more we learn and the more research we do and the more mistakes we make and boundaries we cross, we will learn to swerve the boundary.
I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't be viewing ethics as obstacles, but more as a guideline and a way to help you make future projects and improve the world. Because the main reason we study science is for the future, for the improvement of the nation. And as soon as you start viewing ethics as a boundary or an obstacle that's stopping you from quote unquote improving the world, that's not science anymore. That's just, you're driven by greed, you're driven by external forces. You're not driven by the pure concept of learning and making the world a better place. And secondly, like we were talking about AI before, the one thing that separates the artificial intelligence and human intelligence that we use in science is that we have emotions, that we are capable of feeling, we're capable of having these moral values. As soon as you start thinking of these ethics as obstacles, you essentially start, you can say, confining yourself to a boundary. While if you start to use these ethics as ways to find different solutions and constantly improve, that's when you get to the true intelligence that we're talking about when we differentiate from AI and humans. When you use ethics as an obstacle, you're essentially degrading your intelligence to a level of what we call AI, or a level of what we call imitation of human intelligence.
So I always feel that, when people are curious, the line for ethics and what is right and what is wrong tends to get blurred, because once you find something, you want to find more, and then you want to find more. But I believe that ethics shouldn't be forgotten. And in the right way, ethics act as a conducive environment for us to find better solutions to something. For example, animal testing for medications has been viewed as bad for a very long time, because testing on rats and frogs has been not viewed in a very positive light in society. And that has helped us to develop this system of cluster of human cells on specific slides. So now we can test medicines on human cells without actually testing on humans. And the results of that are better than the animal testing. So because of the ethic, we could now develop something that's better than the animal testing. If that was not there, we would have still continued testing on animals and never reached here. So I do feel like ethics are necessary, and they act as conducive environments too.
I personally feel like ethics are a boundary which a person should set for himself. Like, if you set a boundary for yourself, you know where to explore and you know what is too far. Like, no matter how many ethics laws there are, there will always be one mad scientist who wants to push. Once he finds out something, he wants to know what actually said. Like, they might go too far. So, like, I feel it's up to each individual person to set ethics for themselves. That's why ethics are actually important. If you can just clone human beings, that's a bigger step than AI. AI is simulating human knowledge, and when you clone human knowledge, you're essentially making a copy of human knowledge. So that can be a greater step than AI.
So I think the base anyone should have is that they're trying to help society, right? So anyone who's trying to find something new should keep that in mind all through the process. So because if they're strayed off by other superficial ideas, then they can go in the wrong direction. So I think the line where you should draw between ethics and development. So development for someone is destruction for another. So once the point where destruction is overpowering the development that's going on, I think that's the line when people should realize that they should stop and go back to
where they started from.
So when we are talking about development, I think the number one priority that we should have is that we must achieve world peace. I think that is the thing we should, everyone should commonly aim for. And that world peace shouldn't just be for humans, it should be humans along with nature also. Like, for example, there's a company called Neuralink who's testing brain chips on monkeys. Though that might seem unethical, that does help human beings in a way. So we cannot ignore the fact that it does help us humans. But in the long run, we should strive to make it so that we can develop it in a way that it stops harming these other people. So like, even though the tests we conduct right now might affect animals and it is considered unethical, in the long run we should try to prevent it and create new ways to test these new developing.
So ethics is basically a set of orderly things, and science and ethics are very correlated. So finding a solution to a problem has to be done in an ordered way. So I do not think ethics should be considered a liability in science, and in science and ethics, I think, like Pranav said, setting boundaries for a person in terms of ethics really helps get the best quality solution to any problem in science.
So in science, we're always constantly developing, we're always constantly learning, and the line between right and wrong sometimes isn't always that clear. But that doesn't mean it should hinder your development. That doesn't mean it should act as a barrier. For example, I read a recent article where a man actually cloned a sheep, and a lot of ethical questions were asked. Are they going to clone humans next? Is this right? Imagine what we could do with this power. But then again, yes, there is always a line between right and wrong. But some people actually recognize the scientific achievement that we have done, and the developments that we have actually discovered could actually be used to cure some genetic diseases. So yes, I think there should be a clear boundary between ethics, but it should never hinder our development, because it should never hinder our development.
I want to know from you, what would be the most disruptive idea that could come up in the next few years? Most disruptive idea. For that you have to think of some disruptive ideas, how it came, how it changed, and what is the likely most disruptive idea in the future. I am talking of near future, not after 100 years. Okay, you got the question?
So recently there was a study that was illegally done, and it was about immortality in humans. And the way that it works is that in chromosomes you have this section called the telomere. And what happens is that as the telomere shortens, the human also starts aging. So now scientists are trying to find a way to stop the shortening of that telomere, and to essentially make sure that humans no longer have wrinkles, have any of those automated cell death. And I started thinking about this, and at first I was astounded by this. It was fascinating, and I think here is where you truly wonder, if we gain immortality, are we still humans, biologically and philosophically? And it's just hard to imagine right now, but I think they were estimating that around maybe 2050 they will start to approach this idea again in real life. And I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also terrified about it.
Yeah, I think even I believe the disruptive idea would be immortality only. So I mentioned this company called Neuralink. What they're planning to do in the long run is transferring the consciousness of a human being into a chip. So at that point, your body just becomes a vessel, and once you die, that chip contains your consciousness. So you are technically immortal in that sense. Only your material body is fading away, but your consciousness remains. So I think that is something that will completely destroy the world. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that when something is born, it must die, and that is the law of the universe. So if we try to achieve something such as immortality, I don't think it would go in a way that is useful to this.
I feel like in the future, one of the most disruptive things is immortality is still pretty far away, but something that could happen closer to our current thing is augmenting humans' abilities, like creating cyborgs. They seem right out of a sci-fi movie, like part humans, part robots. But that could happen in the near future, like doping your body or like changing your DNA to help you do more things than you currently can do. So like you're not using any external technology such as AI. You're technically yourself, but you have more capabilities than you would normally have, and therefore that can aid you in your tasks better.
I think one of the most disruptive ways of scientific thinking itself is how we're rapidly developing in gene understanding and intermixing genes in different animals. It might seem an idea right out of Jurassic Park, but it's happening today as we speak. There are labs that they conduct learning about genes of different organisms, and then taking specific gene from one organism and putting it into another organism to say overcome a disease. We started off with just crops. We started by taking a gene and then putting it into a crop so it doesn't have that disease. But as we spoke about ethics too, how far are scientists willing to go to edit this gene and put it into humans to do something else? We don't know how it's going to turn out. It's fascinating, but it could also have very negative impacts because we were made in a certain way, and I believe that we should kind of stick with that certain genetic makeup. We don't know the impact that could be by changing so drastically.
So there are some companies that are trying to input pre-coded chips into human brains to improve efficiency and performance. So I think that would be a point where that's crazy because humans don't have a niche at all. They don't have any more learning capacity once they already have information fed to them. Humans are built to learn. We're beings who need to learn from each other to survive. And if everyone's fed with the same level of information, what's the point of the world? We're trying to develop a better world, so.
I think that changes in humans obviously will cause ethical problems. I don't think it's the greatest disruption that can come out of us. I think a lot of disruption that humans have made over time has happened accidentally. For example, geoengineering, which involves like changing the climate of the earth, and we've been doing it accidentally over a long period of time, unintentionally. And there's a lot of things that are short term that solve this problem by further geoengineering that would do things like reduce the temperature of the earth for a certain period of time before making it skyrocket. And for the previous, I think, decade or so, people were convinced that that is the way to solve climate change. Like, that's a good thing that we should be doing. But now researchers found out that it's going to make it a lot worse in the future. And that's a big disruption. I think a lot of these disruptions we make happen on accident. And I don't think accidents are always... Okay, for example, what I'm trying to say is that through this path that we are on as humans, there's some things that are sort of like milestones, even if we don't see them coming. For example, the development of weapons of mass destruction. Like, the knowledge that we have, at some point in time, someone would have made that invention. If it wasn't me or, someone famous that has done it, it would be someone else. And there's no way to stop that from happening. And so you can only discover weapons of mass destruction. You can't invent them. You just happen to be the person that did make it. And I think things like that obviously
are going to cause the most disruption and more rather than just ethical problems with a human being. And I think we're going to continue doing that, as not only does that advance science, it also advances, the political situation of the world, and I don't think that's going to get better either. So I think the biggest disruption is the development of weapons of mass destruction. I think the biggest disruption that's going to happen is a development of social media. And I don't mean simply Instagram or Facebook or what we think is social media right now. I think if you watch any famous Black Mirror episode, you see technology that they have that uses social media that connects people from all around the world instantaneously. It allows you to judge other people, judge their creations. And when you start doing that, if you watch any of the episodes, you start breaking society. People, even within the scientific world, they are more focused on what another person is doing than what they do themselves. So when you're online within the scientific world, you're looking at the other person making this technological advancement. And then you have so many people concerned about, I made that technological advancement first. You have copyright issues, and all of these societal issues and barriers is simply proved by the fact that so many people, we're getting to a place that every person on the earth can have access to every other person on the earth through social media. And I think that in itself gives in numerous issues, starting from data privacy all to mental health and how that impacts the world. And by that one destructive idea, you have numerous destructive ideas that in all can lead to breaking society as we know it, which I think might just bring around world destruction.
So I think one of the most destructive ideas is actually the development of human cities. Because when you build a city, you build roads, buildings, factories, right? And obviously there's a population shift. So when that happens, a lot of and what disruption that's going to lead to in the future is actually extreme climate change, I feel. So climate change is caused due to greenhouse gases. So factories, contribute to a lot of greenhouse gases. Climate change, also can lead to melting of glaciers. And one recent study actually showed that climate change is actually changing the reflectivity of Earth. So what happens is, which leads to localized warming or heating. So if you take an area and you take the area which is most urbanized, has the most factories, has the most people in it, that place is going to be relatively hotter than the area surrounding it. And yeah, I think development of human cities can lead to many more disruptions like this in the future, which could be detrimental to the foundation of our very world.
So I also feel like she said, neuroenhancing chips could be the biggest setback for humans. At the moment, maybe neuroenhancing chips might seem like a good solution to being a better version of yourself, but that's not human. Finding a solution to be a better version of yourself is the greatest quality a human has. And I think artificializing that and initially being fed a chip or any kind of drug like that could really have a disastrous effect on the human population.
I would like to ask about space tourism and colonization, interstellar travel. It sounds very exciting. Having said that, there are a lot of challenges. Would you like to talk about it? Need not be just technical challenges. In case we colonize in some other planet, because we are going in that direction, in your opinion, is that a viable one? Or are there challenges? You can address in all aspects.
I believe that when we talk about colonizing another planet or another environment, there are going to be massive challenges. Life on Earth has developed in such a way that every organism can coexist with every other organism. If we talk about how Darwin talks about evolution or about any other evolutionary theory. the art, the terrain of the environment, terrain of the earth, the environment, systems of other organisms. That's how we've all developed, so that no organism hinder other organisms in existence and we can all coexist as one ecosystem. And if we try to place this ecosystem onto another environment, there's going to be a lot of challenges. There's not the same terrain, there's not the same temperatures, there's not the same organisms that can live in every other area. For example, we humans have the ability to go anywhere else and we can survive. But there are other microorganisms that are very important for our existence, and we don't know if they can survive in those environments. So there's going to be a lot of challenges that we might not be able to foresee now, but as we do it, we will face them, which is why it's a better idea to just stay on the planet we are.
I think this question also brings up a lot of ethical issues, like whether it's in our interest to invest in space tourism and colonization, or helping people on this planet that are in. But I do think that I think it's regardless of scale. I'm not sure that talks about the civilization, right, and the different milestones that we have in civilization, what you need to reach like active civilization. And it's inevitable that that is the next goal, because as a civilization we are resource hungry. To keep ourselves alive, we need to use our resource efficiently. And every civilization is going to move forward, and if our way is by financing other planets or other space colonization, then that is our way of keeping our civilization alive. And I think that it is going to happen, and it's obviously going to bring about a lot of challenges, and it's never easy to go into unknown territory. For example, even there's certain areas now, like islands, which that we have left untouched because they've developed so differently. We can't communicate with them, and that would be the problem. And we've decided as a society to leave them there, and that was in our best interest. So how do we know that that's not what other civilizations are doing to Earth? They decided to let us develop on our own, right? Which is still far away problem. But I think that there are going to be a lot of challenges, and we might end up doing things that impact us extremely negatively. But I think that it is a milestone that we need to work towards, and stop the hurdles that we find.
So I have mixed feelings about this, because I do agree with Kriti when she says that this is a milestone, right? Because space exploration, there's been millions, billions of dollars has been, that's been given for this project. However, there have been theories that there have been 5 major extinctions, and the 6th may possibly be humans. And that's because of lack of resources, population booms just rapidly happening, and population just quadrupling for 10 years. And I think at some point of time we will need more space, we need more resources, and maybe one way to do that is colonizing an entire planet. But I think if we did use that amount of funds that were being used for space exploration to solve the problems that are being faced in the Earth, I think we may not need that level of colonization if we use our resources right to solve our problems on Earth rather than colonize an entire planet.
I believe that the literal colonization of planets, so where we go and set up civilization, humans to live in those planets, is a very far-fetched idea. I think what would be a more viable idea and a better solution is to draw inspiration from science and use. Technically, you can consider colonization of the resources of the planet instead, because if we can dedicate space exploration to more about learning about the planet, learning about what we can utilize from that planet instead of trying to figure out how we can live in the planet, I think it's a more viable, more easy solution. And also, I think if we find life in other planets or try to find a way, we can also use imitation, similar to how we use biomimicry on Earth. But the most hypothetical example I can give is that Venus is known for its high temperatures due to the gases, greenhouse gases, that's that. Now, if you do space exploration and target that about seeing if there's any life on Venus. And instead of seeing how we can live on Venus, we can figure out how that life lives on Venus and use that to figure out how we can live on Earth given the climate change crisis. So I think when we talk about colonization of planet, we need to change our target to more colonization of the resources present on the planet rather than actually being able to live there and grow civilizations on this planet.
I think colonizing a different planet will come with its own hurdles and some that we can't even comprehend right now. But I think humans are also beings that can evolve with time. So if they were introduced to that environment slowly, then we would be able to adapt. But also at the same time, if we dedicated the kind of funds that we use and the energy spent in doing that to do the same, improve the situation on Earth, because this, I mean, we're saying that it's an end of the world situation, right, where humans are probably going to be the only ones who have a chance of survival. So instead of taking our development over there, if we can bring that here, just as she said, then that would be I think we have better chances at doing that.
So our Earth is, billions of years old. It has been specifically curated for, a number of organisms to live. It has a, very biodiverse ecosystem, right? A mesh of different organisms living together in harmony. And when you colonize or when you move to a different planet, you lose some of that biodiversity, and that biodiversity is essential for development in many different ways. So, as I said, instead of, taking away some of that biodiversity, why not utilize resources from different planets and bring that to Earth? So that could also help in different ways of, development, but at the same time, preserve our biodiversity.
So I want to first talk about space tourism, as you mentioned. Right now, space tourism is only limited to the very rich people, and there's still like 5-10 years before it can actually be viable. But space tourism doesn't affect society as a whole. It's just a person going out in space and enjoying themselves. So I feel like that's perfectly okay, even though it uses a lot of resources. But colonization is a completely different thing. Humans have been living on the Earth for millions of years. Basically, humans have adapted to Earth. And going to another planet, just say Mars, that's like completely starting over civilization again. If humans are ready to do that, then it's okay. But I feel like instead of going to another planet, why not utilize Earth to the fullest as we have it right now? We're adapted to it. We already have progress on it. It's just like wiping out humanity and moving elsewhere. Why do you want to start over again? So first, I feel like we can utilize Earth to the max. And at the end, if we have no option, then we have to move to another planet because we have no option.
Well, I think that colonization on other planets is also a form of evolution. Like millions of years ago, all living organisms used to live just in the ocean. They came from the oceans. And when they transitioned from the ocean to land, that was also, it would have seemed like such a far-off thing, far-fetched thing, and like it was like very great in terms of evolution. So I think this is also one of those kinds of evolution where you're moving to another planet. I don't think it will necessarily bring bad to the, it would be bad to the species, but yeah, I think at the current stage we are right now, it's too early for us to think about immediately moving to other planets and settling there. Although it is good to explore those planets, explore those resources, what new substances you can find that may be useful to our planet and help our lives currently.
So yeah, even I don't think colonizing another planet is a very viable idea right now, because the human society right now didn't just form in a span of a couple of days, right? It took millions of years to actually be how it is right now. So starting from scratch, I think, is one of the greatest challenges if we were to colonize another planet. So that it shouldn't be considered as of now. But using other planets' resources is something which should be considered as of now. That's why many countries like India itself is launching Chandrayaan 3 to the moon, or many other planets. to study the patterns, the resources which could be of potential use to our planet's problems.
All right, a huge round of applause for the questions and the responses. I think it definitely transformed to an elevated galaxy of knowledge. Thank you so much. Wonderful it was. And I must say, someone mentioned about Sri Krishna saying, anything born has to die. Okay, Father Krishna, yes. But as it says, I think any program that starts has an end to it, right? But what an end. It's definitely a beginning and a trigger point for thinking in all of us, including we as mentors as well, right? Thank you so much. As we wait for the announcement of winners, can we take a few questions from the audience? Okay, people are ready. And I have to mention, I think there were very, very curious eyes. Okay, when any question being posed, we were able to see curious eyes, and you wanted to bring out your perspective. That was also very, very commendable. Good. All right. Please note, we will not mark you for these questions. Yeah.
So I heard many of you say that you'd like to learn from your peers in this experience. So what have you learned in this M&L experience as a whole?
Just from this panel, listening to the people here talk, I've understood things about the way I present my ideas, and I think I talk a little fast, and I've been trying to slow it down as I've been talking. I also believe that observation is one of the best ways of learning, and I think in the beginning both Anya and Tisha said they wanted to be teachers, and by the way that they were talking in this panel, I feel like you could tell, right, that Anya wants to be a professor and Tisha wants to teach, because the way that they present their ideas and thoughts was so fascinating to me. So I think that's something I can learn from them, is that how to present your thoughts in a concrete manner. I think from this whole experience as a whole, I was using interdisciplinary concepts to try and come up with an idea for something that I want to make. And I faced a lot of challenges, and I failed a couple times. So I think as a whole it did deepen my understanding of what I thought I knew, and I did.
So I think that the best way to actually learn any concept or anything actually is to talk. Just to talk to everyone, talk to your friends, talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, just talk to everyone and learn from them, learn what they have to say. It could be about I don't know, scientific topic, it could be about a controversial topic, and see what they have to say. I mean, I'm a bad example for this since I'm not the most social person, but talk to people. That's the best way to gain knowledge. Not just reading, not just, attending classes. Talk to them, learn from people. And I think from this M&L experience, I was able to, talk to so many new people and, learn from their experiences. And with my own project, I was able to, learn that humanity, even though, we are this advanced species, we can learn from even the tiniest creatures like ants.
We really have to thank parents who are amongst us today. Can we have a question from you all, or your insights?
First of all, guys, I think it was tremendous learning for us also. So thanks for all your effort and all your thoughts. Just one question from my side, not science. How important is winning for you? Just this panel.
I think winning is one part of this panel discussion itself, but what's more important for me and I think for most of us was the entire process. I think from the first round where they asked us the questions, I remember in our classrooms we were made to answer the very first round. We learned to think then, and in our second round we had to put across our thoughts in the form of a model. We learned how to think out of the box then again. We learned how to solve we did something, we executed something and it didn't work out, like my model. I made a mechanism for the whistle, it didn't work out. So I tried to think in multiple different ways so I can make it work. And so winning is only one part, but from the model making process to even being in the panel today, listening to all their ideas. It shuffles new ideas in your own mind. And you can't learn without listening to somebody else. Science is a bit like a domino effect. It's a never-ending domino. Someone finds something, from their finding you find something else. And so I think that here is a small part of that. So winning is only one small part.
To answer this question, I was on this panel last year and clearly I lost. But when I look back at this, I never actually look back at the fact that I lost, but I look back at the experience of being in the panel. I think there were various questions that were asked that got me thinking. And one thing about that panel is the first time I was on this panel, and I think the confidence that I came into this panel and the previous panel was extremely different. And I think when I look back at a long run, it really doesn't matter about what my score was on the paper, but more about what I actually learned from every single other person sitting in the panel. That matters.
I think the question, very interesting question. And as ma'am is here, I think as Neil Armstrong, he landed there and, there's a statement which states, a small step for man, but a huge leap for mankind. So I think definitely a small step here, but such, opportunities you get, definitely I'm sure you're going to lead to something great. Yeah. We have our junior M&L finalists as well. Any question from there? Any last question, probably?
Anita, what is your motivation to learn science? And I don't want to hear anything like, I want to grow up and
That added a little humor as well, but what a question, definitely. Anyone?
I think it's kind of a selfish reason because you want to grow up in cities, right? You need to be able to stand on your own feet, so you need to earn some respect.
Was that a convincing answer?
I just want to say, I don't think it's a bad reason to want to study science because you want to grow up and do it. Because I can't wait to be older and know more. Like, that's so exciting to me. I feel great that I know more than I did yesterday. It's just a wonderful feeling, and I can't wait to feel that when I'm older. So I would love to grow up and know more. So that is my reason. Sorry. You are a junior M&L panelist, right? Or you were in the selection round? Yeah, you're a finalist, right? So when you solve a science problem and when you look at something, you try to figure out what happened, or you try to figure out how to fix it. That's how you got in a panel by your project. That's the same thing that I think can apply about everyone here. There's immense satisfaction in actually finding a solution to a problem. And it might seem like selfish, like, oh my god, I got the solution to this problem. But at the end of the day, when you solve something, you get a lot of satisfaction to it. And I'm sure like when you made your project, you also had a lot of satisfaction to it. And like maybe thought, maybe this would be something I would like to do on the future. And I think that, and personally for me, that satisfaction that I get every time I discover something new or find something new is why I want to do this.
Can we have Parvati now to share her insights on the panel?
Respected Dr. Srinivasan sir, Madam Srinivasan sir, Principal Nandini ma'am, Sonia ma'am, other faculty who are present here, the parents of the panel finalists, and last but not the least, my dear children. A very good morning to all of you, and I must honestly admit that I am thrilled to be here. It was really a very good eye-opening session for me. Actually, when I was contacted by Principal Ma'am, I readily agreed because this was like going back to the school. Because children these days, I was telling Dr. Srinivasan sir also today morning,
this generation actually is very, very smart. It's just like we are seeing that every generation is smarter than the previous generation. So from that point of view, spending time and connecting with this generation is actually a very refreshing one, because they instigate us to think a little more. They are the ones who push us a little more to do a little better. So from that point of view, I was very excited to be here and to be with the panelists and listen. And out of curiosity, I was just wanting to know what has been done previously in this MNL, means first 2 rounds, and when Soumya ma'am shared all the details, I was actually it was mind-boggling for me, the kind of ideas people came up with, the projects, the kind of problem-solving approach you people are taking. It's really commendable, and I would like to give a huge round of applause to the school, the faculty, and the students for having this kind of awareness and this kind of curiosity to take it forward. So I'm feeling so happy that the science in this younger generation's hands is very, very safe, and I am very confident that we are going to have many, many more inventions and miracles. I mean, any science invention, I consider that as a miracle. So many more miracles will happen, I am very, very sure. And I would like to thank Dr. Srinivasan sir and the entire faculty and the school for making such a framework and to spark that thoughts in people's mind, because that is the first step, and any step in the positive direction, regardless of the pace. Of course, this pace is also very good. So it is a very welcome one. So from that point of view, when we instigate the scientific temper in the children, when we nudge them gently towards using their minds and provoking their thoughts, that is very good. And actually, we used to joke in our office. This joke goes like this. We used to always say, science is the answer, what is the question? So for everything, science, I deeply believe that science holds the key to unlock the most problems of the humankind they face. And for me, science is a study of nature. Whatever is around, you just curious, because you have not made it, you don't know how it works. And you try to probe it, what actually makes this tick. So from that point of view, I'm so happy that the children are getting a very nurturing environment here to pursue their science. And I wish them all the very best. And I'm sure Dr. Srinivasan sir's dream will come true. And one of you will be a Nobel Laureate and bring laurels to the country. So I wish the school, the children and the management all the very best. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Now I would request our chairman sir to announce the winner. And also I request Dr. Parvati ma'am to join sir on the stage to honor the winner.
One is announced as the winner, what happens to the remaining 8? So now that is not there. So Pranav is selected to be the recipient of this Mini Nobel. He's just starting the journey from grade 9. Okay, wish you all the best.
Many congratulations to the winner and all the participants. We now request Savi ma'am to give the certificates to our participants who elevated the level of discussion to great height. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It has been such an honor to be part of this wonderful event. On behalf of the organization, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest, Dr. Parvati. And we extend our heartfelt thanks and deepest gratitude to you, ma'am, for gracing us with your esteemed presence as the chief guest for the today's event. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our Honorable Chairman, sir, who is the guiding force in pursuit of learning. A special mention to all the participants of MNL who with their profound scientific passion and thinking skills showcased in both round 1 and round 2 have a long come way with flying colors. Sincere thanks to the core team who handled the event throughout. A wide round of applause and thanks to all the participants who made the event a memorable one. Finally, I would like to thank all the parents, mentors and my dear students present here for making the time to be with us today and helping us make this event a grand success. Thank you all of you.